All right, pattern number 2. So we're gonna step this up a little bit. So let's go ahead and, again, same thing that we did in 1. Let's make a big 2 in the middle, kind of a couple inches, not kind of too big, because we want to be able to use some of the space to work on our patterns. So this one, I'm just gonna make my 2 a couple inches big, and I'll do a circle and a circle and a circle at the end of each of them. So something a little extra from what we did in 1. We'll just keep stepping it up each time. We're gonna go back to, again, do not touch this line. Now that you have your 2, no line should be touching it or crossing it, because that's what we want hidden, like we have it in number 2. So go ahead and go around number 2. You don't want to get too close or make it too far. You just want to try to do it to where your number 2 is going to be, there's some white coming through. And again, a lot of this is preference. Like when I'm using pen and ink, I'm trying to pack in as much as I can. So with the Sharpies, you know, the lines are going to be a lot bigger and more spread, and they do bleed a lot more, as you can probably already see. But as long as you block that out, no line is touching that, that 2 now is in safe. It is in the safe zone. So the other thing we need to do is we need to do the outline of the box so that we have that. So going back to number 1, we're working on line control. So go down and just pull your wrist all the way down. If you try to do it in one little thing, that's where you'll get that break, and you can really, and your Sharpie or pen will sit there for a while, and then you'll have a blob. So if you just kind of start at the top and go down and just keep moving, keep moving, keep moving, keep moving, it will look pretty straight. And that's where you just got to practice this stuff. This is where, you know, I've been doing this for over 25 years, you know, since middle school, high school. So I usually, 90% of the time I'm working with pen and ink, but when I'm doing workshops and classes and stuff like that, I'm using bigger markers or Sharpies so everyone can kind of see it easier and it doesn't smear as much. But number 2, we're gonna call this some swirls. So the swirls, all we're gonna do is you find a corner, you find a space, and you're basically just gonna do some swirls. So I used to always love doing swirls. You'll see swirls in a lot of my artwork. So go ahead and spread them out. When I do one on this side up at the top, then I'm going to come here in the middle and I'm going to do another one. So don't let those swirls touch anything. Just give them their space, because we're going to work our pattern around them. So you can go in the same direction, or if you want to change it up. So that one, I went this way, so this time I'm gonna make it go the other direction. Same thing, both of those are going that way, so let's go ahead and switch it up and make them going with each other. So go ahead and start making the swirls around. So this is the same idea, where once we're done with those swirls, we're gonna come back in and we're gonna block out those swirls, so then we could use all this space as our patterns. So do some on the inside, do some on the outside, and you will see, you know, where the negative space is that we can really play with. You know, I've always loved playing with negative space. That's where, you know, doing mazes and drawing, I always thought, you know, watching the highlights magazines and those Bev Doolittles and all those things, you know, in the 80s and 90s, I always just thought I had to hide things inside of my artwork. So I would do a pattern, and then I would do patterns inside the patterns, and then I would hide things, and it just really turned into what it is. You know, if I had to give any credit to anyone, 100%, it would be Bev Doolittle, highlights magazines, like we were talking about. Bev Doolittle, if you haven't seen her work, incredible artist. She creates sceneries, and in the sceneries there's wolves and a lot of Indians and horses and eagles, and I just used to love it as a kid. So I was really, you know, she was my biggest inspiration, and I know a lot of people over the years have shown me MC Escher, and I know there's a lot of different terms now, you know, for doodling, and there's all these fancy words. You know, doodling really was not accepted when I was in school. I was never the best student. School is not for everyone. I love to draw. I love to create. I love to, my brain was always somewhere else. I was actually very hyper. I was very hyper in school, and this was the only thing that would calm me down. And even still today, if I notice that I'm tense, or if if something's going on, you know, drawing, I just go into my own world, and it was very personal to me, especially outside of the classroom, or if I was going through some things. I mean, hence there's that piece that you know, you were looking at earlier, or in my TED talk, I talk about Lonely World, where I locked myself in my room for over 3 months, and it was over 250 hours it took me. It was my journal, but through artwork. And I didn't even know at the time, in middle school, high school, and even in my 20s, that it was meditation and therapy. I mean, like, that's what it was for me. You know, I know there's a lot of research now, and, you know, people stop, like, kind of like I did. I even stopped doodling after high school for a while, from 18 to 24. I just didn't think anything of it. Then finally at 24, I remembered how good it made me feel. Like, why am I not continuing to do that? So I just went back to it, and I've never stopped since. So right here, as you can see, we're just going around each of the swirls. So pretend like those are also that too, where you're not gonna touch the swirl. You're gonna go inside and out and leave those space, because then we're gonna come back in and we're gonna do another pattern inside of it. So go ahead and finish your swirls. Make sure you have some around that 2 area. Make sure you have some on the outside. And then when you're done with those, I'll show you what we're gonna do next. But yeah, it was good. It was 100% meditation, therapy. I think in talking to people throughout the years, that's just what doodling has been. And it's been awesome. You know, I've been teaching this for over 20 years in schools, retirement homes, businesses. You know, I mean, I used to even go to Disney and do the doodling with Viz at the Epcot Festival of the Arts. You know, I've been in the game for a while, and it's good to see more and more people doing it and drawing and creating, because I think creating with your hands, no matter what it is, it's just a good feeling. And you know, my style that I've been developing, it's you know, I feel like a lot of people can relate to it, whether they were doodlers, or I know, again, there's a lot of different new terms and words for doodling, but doodling is what it is. I mean, that's what I loved as a kid, and that's just what I love to do. So here is number 2. Now we're gonna go back and we're gonna fill these in with lines. So once you have all those space, this is where that 2 is really gonna fall inside and get lost. So now we're just gonna take lines, and we are just gonna fill these ends going all around. So as you turn it, you're just gonna keep moving and working on those straight lines again. So here we go. We're gonna come back around. Looks like we're ending right here, because I don't want to go too far. So I'm gonna start another section right here. And this is where you can just kind of break it, where you determine where you want to start a new section. So right here, I'm just gonna use that one. And then this is gonna come back down. Boom. And then we'll go ahead and finish this one off, have it swirl around. So the best part about this is there is no right or wrong way to do this. I know some people get frustrated, you know, mine doesn't look like that. Everyone has their own way they see things. The best part about this is there's literally no right or wrong way. This is just kind of showing you different ways to do patterns and what you can do with them. I am going to be going a little fast. Usually I take my time. I mean, my pieces, average piece when I create one is 11 by 14 to 11 by 17, and those can take anywhere from 60 to 80 hours. That is pretty standard, and timeline wise that could be at least a couple months just due to my schedule. I wish if all I had to do was just draw every single day and I didn't have to travel and do shows and do other things, and I have the family and I could just create, yeah, I could create that. People are like, oh, that's like a week to 2 weeks, and I wish. I'm lucky if I get an hour to 2 hours a day to draw. So right now I would definitely say 2 to 3 months I create a new piece, but pen to paper, it takes, you know, 60 to 80 hours, depending on negative space, colors, what's hidden inside of them. I mean, some of my pieces, like there's a Chicago piece I did years ago when I went out there, just in the reflection alone is all 77 neighborhoods in the water. I mean, that piece has well over 200 hidden details, but then there's some with a lot of negative space, such as American flags where the white is, there's not as much space to use. It's not a solid color, so that definitely will cut down on time, and it will cut down on how many things I can hide inside of it. And the bigger I work, such as Sharpies, or if I've tested out on painting, who knows, one day I might do murals or something along those lines, I'm gonna lose a lot of my hidden detail and just the details inside of it, because the bigger you go, the more you're losing what you can hide, as you could even see here, compared to a pen. These lines are a lot thicker. So as we're working our way, we're halfway through this one, you'll start to see all these patterns coming together. You can just separate them, break them up, just wherever you feel like these lines should start and stop, go ahead and do it, and you just keep moving. So right there, boom. All right, I'm gonna stop, and then I'm gonna turn it around and start here, and we are gonna work our way back around, and you just keep doing this until you have that whole page filled, and then we will be able to move on to the next one. But as I was telling you guys, it is it's great because you do get lost in it. You know, I think the best part about doing this style, you know, that's where the Viz art, you know, people ask, what does Viz art mean? And, you know, it's hidden pictures, words, and messages relating to the theme, you know, stemming from doodling. That's where I love doing it. And yeah, I do write out typically what I'm going to hide inside of it. You know, when I was younger, I wouldn't make a list. I mean, because I was using 1 to 2 colors. The more colors you're going to use, the more complicated it uses, especially if it's creating that main image. You need to have a little bit of a plan. So I will have a list of hidden pictures and a list of hidden words. And a lot of the photos are my own photo reference images that I've taken, that I've drawn. You know, it really just depends on where the inspiration came from. So I do a lot of my own photo reference images with the main image, and even a lot of the images hidden on the inside. You know, those are photo reference, or if I do a custom piece for a company, they'll send me all the images that they want to use, which is awesome because that makes my job a lot easier. Because once I have those 3 things, the list of everything I'm going to hide, whether it's the list of hidden pictures and words, and then what the main image is, I can visualize how it all kind of comes together. And now I just need to put it all together, which is the hardest. The hardest thing for me is just finding time between the family, between the work, between everything else. But you know, that's where it's nice with the doodling, is you just get lost inside of it, and nothing else almost matters. I mean, so if you just use it as your therapy and your happy place, I mean, that's really where I do some of my best thinking and some of my best work. So as you can see, pattern number 2 came together. So we definitely took it a step up. It probably took twice as long, which it should. You know, each time we go, I mean, there's some patterns that I do that can take easily 30-40 minutes just on one pattern because of the detail. These ones are pretty simple, pretty straightforward as we move more into the next pattern or creating a whole image with this. So that's pattern number 2. Let's jump into pattern number 3.